Good morning. It is Friday, September 11th, 2020. You can now relax and be informed. Here is your daily bite of news. On the eve of the anniversary of the 9/11 attacks, a federal judge has directed the Saudi Arabian government to make 24 current and formal officials available for depositions about their possible knowledge of events leading up to the airplane attacks. Those officials include Prince Bandar, the former ambassador to the United States, and his longtime chief of staff, Ahmed Al-Khattan. Significantly, the list includes other high-ranking royals who still serve in the government, including Salah bin Abdulaziz, who served as Minister of Islamic Affairs. The effect of the ruling may depend on the willingness of the Saudi government to make its citizens available for testimony, though. The question of possible involvement in the 9/11 attacks by Saudi officials has been a subject of intense debate for years, dividing officials within the FBI and the U.S. intelligence community. The Saudis have consistently denied any connection to the 9/11 hijackers, but lawyers for the families of the 9/11 victims have been conducting a painstaking investigation that has developed a circumstantial case that two of the hijackers, Khalid and Nawaf, received financial support from individuals associated with the Saudi government. An update on a previous bite of news. France and Germany are working together to find a solution to welcome migrants on the Greek island of Lesbos after Europe's largest refugee camp, Moria, burned to the ground. About the situation, French President Emmanuel Macron said this: "It is clear that we need a new facility which is safer and offers more humane conditions and offers the appropriate capacity needed." As of now, a group of more than 400 unaccompanied children were removed following the blaze on Thursday. As part of a lengthy congressional investigation, lawmakers found that Seema Verma, the head of the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, abused the federal contracting process and wasted millions of taxpayer dollars on consultants and other services to boost her own profile. In July 2020, the Health and Human Services Inspector General found that Verma broke federal contracting rules. In one example of her controversial spending, Verma paid consultants nearly $3,000 in taxpayer money to put together a girls' night out at USA Today journalist Susan Page's Washington home. Among the revelations, Verma spent more than $3.5 million on a range of GOP-connected consultants who polished her public profile, wrote her speeches and Twitter posts, brokered meetings with high individuals, and even billed taxpayers for connecting Verma with fellow Republicans in Congress. The report draws on roughly 10,000 pages of documents obtained by congressional staff from the Trump administration's health department, including some of Verma's emails. The Democrats on the House Energy and Commerce, House Oversight, Senate Finance, and Senate Help committees also reviewed extensive billing records and other departments provided by consultants to CMS. Egypt has uncovered 13 unopened coffins thought to contain human mummies that have been sealed inside a well for more than 2,500 years. They were found piled on top of each other in a well nearly 40 feet deep and are so well preserved that the original detailed designs and colors are clearly visible, according to Egypt Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities. Archaeologists made the discovery at Saqqara, an ancient site also home to landmarks including the Sept pyramid. They are expected to make more discoveries at the site in the coming days. In Kentucky, Wisconsin, and New York, investigators are expected to soon make decisions on whether to bring charges in 3 separate incidents of police violence. The fatal police shootings of Breonna Taylor, the suffocation death of Daniel Prude in police custody, and the non-fatal police shooting of Jacob Black are all under investigation by state attorneys general. In Breonna Taylor's case, none of the 3 officers involved in the flawed raid have been charged with a crime. One officer, Brett Hankinson, was fired in late June. A grand jury has been impaneled to investigate the shooting. In Rochester, New York, the state attorney general has been tasked with investigating Daniel Prude's death in police custody. The release of police body cam video last week led to immediate actions from local officials. Mayor Lovely Warren suspended 7 Rochester police officers involved in the arrest last week. Also, New York Attorney General Letitia James announced Saturday that she's forming a grand jury to investigate his death. The Kenosha police shooting of Jacob Black, who survived but is partly paralyzed, is being investigated by both state and federal officials. The DCI's investigation is assisted by the FBI, Wisconsin State Patrol, and Kenosha County Sheriff Office. The U.S. Department of Justice is also conducting a federal civil rights investigation into the shooting. The DCI said it aims to provide the report within 30 days, which would be September 22nd. At that point, the prosecutor will review the reports and determine whether charges are appropriate. China on Wednesday approved Phase 1 human testing for a nasal spray vaccine, which is co-developed by researchers at Xiamen University and Hong Kong University, as well as by vaccine maker Beijing Wantai Biological Pharmacy Enterprise Corporation. Intranasal spray has previously been developed as a vaccine for the flu and is recommended for use among children and adults who want to avoid the more common needle injection. Administered through the nasal tract, it mimics the natural infection of the respiratory viruses to stimulate the body's immune response against the pathogen that cause COVID-19. Some scientists hope a vaccine that gets sprayed through the nose may have a better chance of stopping the spread of the insidious virus through respiratory tracts. A needle injection can arouse a systematic immune response to prevent severe illness, but may not be strong enough to ward off infection. Preclinical studies have shown that nasal vaccines can significantly reduce lung damage among mice and hamsters when challenged with the coronavirus. Suspected Russian-backed hackers have attempted to breach the systems at Washington-based SKDK Knickerbocker, a strategy and communications firm working with Joe Biden's campaign. The attacks, which took place over the past 2 months, were unsuccessful. The failed hacking attack was brought to SKDK's attention by Microsoft, who gathered information identifying the hackers linked to the Kremlin as the most likely suspects. The attack mainly focused on phishing, a common hacking method which lures users into disclosing sensitive passwords. President Vladimir Putin's press secretary Dmitry Peskov said he had no idea what SKDK is and added it looks like just another nonsense that is published. Later on Thursday, Microsoft announced that it had observed Russian hackers target at least 200 organizations, including Democratic and Republican political consultants, political parties at the state and national level, American think tanks, and European political parties over the past several months. An Iranian hacking group also tried and failed to break into Trump's campaign-related accounts in May and June, according to Microsoft. Jean-Sebastien, boss of mining company Rio Tinto, will step down following criticism of the destruction of sacred Aboriginal sites in Australia. The board said Mr. Jacques could remain as the chief executive until March or until a successor was appointed. In May, the mining company destroyed 2 ancient caves in Pilbara, Western Australia. The caves, seen as Australia's most significant archaeological research sites, had shown evidence of continuous human habitation dating back 46,000 years. Artifacts found at the caves include a 28,000-year-old animal bone tool and a 4,000-year-old belt made of plaited human hair. They sat above about 8 million tons of high-grade iron ore with an estimated value of 75 million pounds. Although the company said it had permission for the work under Aboriginal heritage laws, critics say the mining company was aware of the site's cultural importance to Native peoples. As punishment for the act, last month Mr. Jacques and 2 senior executives were stripped of their multi-million-dollar bonuses for 2020. Australia's parliament is currently holding an inquiry into the miners' actions. Actress Dame Diana Rigg dies at age 82 after being diagnosed with cancer earlier this year. The veteran star was the recipient of BAFTA, Emmy, Tony, and Evening Standard Awards for her work on stage and screen. The Doncaster-born star's career included roles at the Royal Shakespeare Company, on Broadway, where she would win 3 Tony Awards, on the West End, and in countless television shows and films. She became a household name as secret agent Emma Peel opposite Patrick Macney's John Steed in the British TV series The Avengers. She appeared as Countess Tracy de Vencio in George Lazenby's 1969 James Bond film On Her Majesty's Secret Service. In more recent years, she starred in an episode of Ricky Gervais' Extras, starred opposite Matt Smith in an episode of Doctor Who, and received 2 Emmy nominations playing the scheming Lady Olenna Tyrell in HBO's Game of Thrones. She was made a CBE in 1988 and a Dame in 1994 for services to drama. Playwright Sir Tom Stoppard said about her, "For half her life, Diana was the most beautiful woman in the room, but she was what used to be called a trooper. She went to work with her sleeves rolled up and a smile for everyone. Her talent was luminous. Less than a year ago, the U.S. Navy said it didn't want its Marines and sailors using hemp or CBD products. Now they've expanded its ban to include topical products like lotions and shampoos. CBD is the chemical found in hemp and marijuana plants. It's simpler for companies to use hemp-derived CBD because the extract is legal in all states. In December 2018, Congress voted to legalize the cultivation of hemp after months of debate and negotiation between lawmakers. CBD can be helpful for restorative sleep pain and inflammation, low back and neck pain, and panic attacks. CBD is commonly known to be in things like oils, supplements, and vapes, but it's showing up in shampoos, lattes, body lotions, gummy bears, and dog treats. It's being sold in coffee shops and farmers markets and even drugstore chains like CVS. The Navy says the new rules were made to protect sailors from potential THC exposure that can negatively impact mission readiness and disqualify a sailor from continued service. Sailors and Marines with a valid medical prescription for CBD products approved by the Food and Drug Administration are still allowed to use them. The Navy said they don't restrict the use of durable hemp goods like rope and clothing. Starting this month, Parisians under the age of 18 can travel on the City of Paris's public transit network free of charge. Timed to coincide with the return to schools, a new policy from Paris City Hall will see all young people who apply reimbursed for the cost of an annual pass, with some restrictions. The plan represents another step in an ongoing campaign to make Paris's public transit cheaper and more accessible, a process that might end up eventually with the city offering a fully free network. These steps started in June 2018 when Transit Authority RATP made city travel free for those 65 and up, bringing France's capital into line with other countries, such as the UK, that grant free transit access to older people. In September 2019, children under 11 and all minors with disabilities were granted free travel. On a continent where entire countries, admittedly very small ones, have made public transit entirely free, the plan isn't necessarily far-fetched. Some smaller French cities, including Dunkirk, have already made their public transition free of charge, and the public transit agency serving Los Angeles, USA, located in a country with a skeptical attitude to transit subsidies, is exploring the possibility of removing charge for buses and trains. That's enough for now. If you would like to read more in depth on any of these topics, see the description below for links to resources. Subscribe to this channel to receive a daily news update. Be relaxed, be informed, be connected.